hey, good morning. It's like, oh my God, look at that, I'm on the air. Hey, everybody, welcome, good morning to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. As always, if you want to skip past the show gobbledygook good morning part, you can scroll down. There's going to be a time code somewhere down in the description. I swear to God, these are like the weirdest things. They're awesome, but I can never figure out which side is which. So we're a little bit kerfuffled this morning because something isn't working the way that I expected it to. See, I even got them upside down here. Something isn't working the way I expected it to. And I'm hoping to get to the bottom of this during the show, but that's always a fun way to do things. Oh, by the way, if you want to see an edited version of this show and not the big long one, click here. Something might happen, something might not. We'll see. I did an edited version of yesterday's show, and that will get uploaded later today. Or it is uploaded, it'll go live later today. And we're working with this new external editor, third-party guy, to see if we can get this stuff done quickly and efficiently so that I can deliver an edited show to you every time, which I think would be kind of cool. Oh my goodness, let's see what's going on in the, yes, Ryan, I know it's uploaded already. We've got to release it later. Excitement in the chat room. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat room this morning. Why is my, ringing? Marvin says good morning. Good morning, Marvin. And yeah, it's like people weren't piling in early this morning. That's, oh, I forgot to put, oh, well. People usually piling in earlier and it just wasn't happening. I guess it wasn't quite that exciting of a topic, but hopefully we'll make it exciting. So let's see here. Martin says bit of an up and down. Interesting. I'll leave that private chat there. Let's see here. We'll be a minute late. We are a minute late. That's what happens. And Sean Mark Nipper, good morning to you. Good morning, Marvin. Good morning, Burns Tech. Good morning, John. Good morning, everybody out there who is saying hello. And Scott says, you feel like you should have waited for a Leica lens rather than get the 14-140. Ooh, well, 14-140 is still a good lens, but yeah, I mean, you can't beat the Leica lenses. They're pretty awesome. Henrik says good morning or good afternoon, as it is in Sweden. Wonderful. Wonderful in Sweden. Love that. And afternoon from the Netherlands. Guido, awesome. Okay. Oh, Ryan says it's released and linked and everything. Oh, okay, so the short version of yesterday's video is already fully public and out there. Well, there you go. All right, so I guess Ryan's on top of things this morning. All right, let's do a show. Should we do a show? I think we should do a show. Let's do a show. Let me make sure this is all set up. Yeah, I think we're good. It's one of those. Anyway, hi, good morning. Let's start this thing. Good morning and welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live daily photo show on YouTube every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Come in live if you can. It's super fun to do, and then you get to participate in the chats and the comments and all that stuff. Hey, if you're participating live, don't forget to @PhotoJosephMe so that I know you're trying to get my attention if you have a question for me. I'm getting a lot more noise than I should be off my mic. Mics, pain in the butt. Okay, so today we're talking about this thing, BGGH5, big fancy model number. It's one of those crazy names. Let's get a nice close-up shot over here. Oops, I forgot to loosen that. Oh well, that's close enough. We'll do that and put that there and switch to that camera. And there it is, look at that thing. Ooh, oh, the big old battery grip. So BG for battery grip, GH5 for, you know, the GH5. And this is a pretty slick little tool. So let's go through the parts on this first thing. Let me just take this thing off to start. And when you get your GH5, if you look at the bottom of it, you're not going to see, let's go back to this thing, you're not going to see these contacts there, just not sitting there naked because they're covered. And they're covered by, and I will show you how this all goes together in a moment here. They're covered by this little guy here. Let's just put that in the right way. And it's just a little rubber gasket, kind of a seal thing. So you see that on the bottom of your camera, you go, ooh, what's under that door? And if you peel that door off, pop, there's the contacts. Now, you don't want to lose this because it's kind of important for rain, weatherproofing, protection, and all that. So on the bottom of the BGGH5, there's a little pocket for it, which I think is really cool. So you just slide that in there, and boom, it's now stored nice and safe. Now, all that's left is to attach this, which is pretty self-explanatory. Line up the contacts, the contacts and the tripod screw. Put that in there, and let's flip it around this way so you can see the thumb tightening bit, and just lock that into place. That's it. That is all there is to connecting it, and you're good to go. So now that it's on there, what can you do with it? Oh, thank you, Michael, for that lovely contribution. I do so appreciate that. So what can you do with it? Well, the whole point, there's kind of two primary uses of this. Primary use number one, being that it's called the battery grip, is that battery being the first word, is that it holds an extra battery. So we still have the battery in the camera. Let me get to that guy. There we go. Still have the battery in the camera, right? So we leave that one in there. So that guy's still in place. You don't have to take the door off or anything like that. I've seen these kind of battery grips before where you have to take the door off. That is not the case here. So leave the door on. Put this thing back on. And as you can see, it's quite easy and quick to get this thing on and off. Well, Michael Keeper, doing it again. Thank you again, Michael Keeper. You're just like going to town on that little button there. I appreciate it. So that's on there now. And now you have a spot for a second battery, which is here. Let's go ahead and go close up on that. So there is our second battery slot. Right, there we go. There's focus. There we go. And just like before, you release that battery out and in you go. Now, the cool thing about this, one of the cool things about this, is you can use the power supply. So you know the GH4 or GH5 power supply, same thing. If you want to slide this in here so you're plugged into the mains, you can do that. You can plug into here, and if let me pop this thing back out again, there is even, there we go, a little cable slot there. So your power would go into there. Now I would plug this in for you, except that it's running on that camera right there, so I can't show it to you. But it slides into there. Oops, get that out of the way again. It slides into there. This cable thing goes out of the way so the cable can go through and then the door can close. Of course, if you're not using that, then you just put that back into place, slide in your battery, and off you go. Okay, so why would you bother having the mains, we're going to call it the mains, the power supply into here on the battery grip? Because then, you know, you don't need power, right? You're running off the power. You don't need the battery. Well, I can think of one good way. And if you have another idea for this of why you'd want to do that, I think I'd love to hear it. But the idea that in my head is you could have a battery in here that is in the grip and here that is basically a backup, and then you're plugged into the mains here. So if you were shooting something long form and you're plugged into power or maybe a generator or a car or anything like that where you need that constant power, but you don't want to have to worry about power fluctuations or it dying out on you or anything like that, then you know that you've got this as a backup. So if you suddenly lose power, I don't know, the building goes dark or something, the generator runs out of gas, you still got the power in the battery grip. So that's one idea. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a convenience thing. You don't want to have to take this off when you are going to go on the mains. You just slide it in there and away you go. If you've got this mounted into a big rig, you don't want to have to take it out, then that seems like a pretty logical reason there. So you got that. Now in the camera itself, when it comes to the battery, you actually do have an option. I just realized I forgot to plug in. Let's get this here. Plug in the camera. You do have a control option over the battery, and that is telling the camera which battery it should use. So I'm just plugging this in here so that you can see my screen. So wait that to come up. Come up. There it is. Go to that. So when I go into the menu, oh, whoops, I didn't have the menu turned on. I got to turn on my output view on here. There's my record output, info display on, there we go. Back to that again. Okay, so I go to the menu, and you go to the gear menu, and then on, I think it's the third, where is it, third, fourth, oh, there it is. No, that was double slot. Where'd it go? I just saw it. Battery, there it is, battery use priorities. This is page 2 of 4. You go to page 2 of 4, and you click on that, and this is only going to appear if you have the battery grip installed. You see you can choose between body and battery grip. So if I go to body and then go back to the main screen, let's get my display info up, all the way up, there we go. You see in the top right corner, we see the little battery symbol, right? And that's telling me, that's basically the same thing that I always see. I know because I see that it's using the internal battery. Now if I switch back to this, let's go back into here again and go to battery use priority and switch it to BG for battery grip. Now you can see that little symbol up in the top right has changed. It's telling me that I'm using the battery grip battery and that battery is full. So I give you a little info in there so I know which is which. All right, pretty straightforward. So you can choose which one you want it to go. So you can, as far as I can tell, there's no way to toggle between the battery grip and the internal one while it's recording. So that's something you have to switch while you're not recording. Now here's the little thing that's come up that honestly I'm a little confused by, and I almost considered rescheduling today's show because of it, but it was kind of a very, very, very last minute thing. And I have to go back and look at the unboxing video. I did an unboxing video, linked here, of this product. And in that unboxing video, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that I had the camera set to use the battery in the grip, started recording, pulled the battery out of the grip, and it seamlessly switched over to the internal battery and didn't interrupt recording. that is no longer happening. Now, I did do the upgrade to the new firmware, so that might be a change in the firmware. It might be a bug. Bugs happen. It might be a design reason, like they decided that was a bad idea to do that kind of switching without power cycling the camera. I don't know. But what I do know is that right now, if I'm recording, and you can see this right now, if I, let's do it like, how do we do this? We'll do it like this, just so you can see the screen. I know you're not looking at a pretty view of it, but that's fine. So you can see the screen there. If I now take out this battery, so it is active on the battery grip, if I take this out, you're going to see the screen power cycle. The camera is basically power cycling right now, and it comes back again. So again, might be a bug, might be a new feature intentionally. I don't know. I will find out for you guys as best as I can. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out before the show this morning, but that's what's happening right now. Now you can go the other way around. So now I'm on. Let's go back to this again. I'm on, and I'm on the internal battery. If I push in the battery now, it seamlessly switches over to use the battery grip. So that does work, which makes me think that maybe there's something a little, like something oopsies happened. But if it's a bug, it'll get fixed. You know, that's the beauty of firmware updates. If it's not a bug and it's a feature, then I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. So anyway, so that's how that works. So this, you've got the dual batteries there so that you can obviously go twice as long. You don't have to take this thing off all the time. So this is one of the things to consider. If you're shooting, whether you're shooting videos or stills, you probably want to have the battery set to use the one in the battery grip and the one in here as a secondary. That allows you to shoot, and then at some point you go, oh look, it has, the battery in the grip has depleted or near depleted. It's switching over, it's about to switch over to this battery. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this guy out and pop another one in, and away we go. Pop another one in. Helps you put it in not upside down. Very clever. Pop the other one in, and now I've got more, I'm back to having full battery without having to take off this grip. But if I was in the middle of a big long shoot and I didn't have time to swap out the battery, I could let it roll over to that second one. So just depends on what you're doing. Maybe you just have two batteries, you're out for a day of shooting, and that's going to be enough for you, or whatever you shoot is, that's going to be enough. But if you want to have that kind of extra backup in there, you've got a third battery, fourth battery in your pocket, knowing that if you get to the end of that first battery and you don't have time to switch, or you're in the middle of shooting, you can't switch, whatever, it's going to roll over seamlessly. That's key. That's really, really important to know that that's going to happen. So that's how the battery part of it works. Not that there's anything else to really say about the batteries, but there you go. So the other part of the grip is all these little buttons here. So let's come to that, but first let's take a look at the comments and see what's going on in the comment room. Oh my, I see another contribution from Rohella1112. Thank you, Rohella. I see no questions coming in with these contributions, but I certainly appreciate the contributions. You guys rock. Excellent. So let's see what's going on back here in the comments. Burns Tech says, I wish there was an easy way for the protective covers to slide in and out and stay attached to the camera, similar to how some camcorder covers work. That's a good idea. I like that. Obviously, it would take more space. So he's talking about like a little door that would kind of drop down and in, or drop up and whatever, but slide out of the way. That would require more space, but I could totally see that that would be cool and useful. I think camcorders tend to be bigger, bulkier, lots of extra space on them. On DSLR, DSLM type cameras, people tend to really try to make it as compact as possible. But it's a nice suggestion. I like it. That would be helpful. Clearly not the kind of thing we'll see in a firmware update, though. Martin Pitt says, see his question above. Oh, I see. There we go. It's interesting. So when you guys are doing the contribution, I thought you could, when you hit the money thing, you could put in your question there so that I saw your contribution and your question at the same time. Interesting. But Michael Kleber, who contributed, thank you, says, do you think we'll ever see RT flash units for the GH5? RT, real time? No. RT, I don't know what you mean, RT. Clarify, please. I'm not sure what you mean by RT flash units. Let's see here. Next up is there's another question. Saw another question down here somewhere with my name on it. Scrolling. Lots of chitter chatter in the comments. This is awesome. Burns Tech says, I think you tested that and it didn't switch over. It stopped and the camera shut off. Oh, really? Okay. So maybe that is not a change. Okay, so thank you, Burns Tech, for clarifying that. I will have to go back and look at my old video to see, but it was a surprise to me, so I guess we'll find out. All right, next up. Rohella. There was no question with Rohella's contribution, but thank you, Rohella. Any other question? No, that's it. No more questions. Lots of chatter, lots of comments, but no questions. Again, if you've got a question you want me to address, make sure you put that at PhotoJoseph in front of it so that I see it. Hey, I got something really cool and exciting to share with you guys. Wait, don't I? Where'd it go? Okay, we're going to do this a different way. I was going to throw up a slide on the screen, but apparently I did not put it on here like I thought I did. So we're going to do it this way. We're going to go to my website and go to here and make this nice and big and check that out. GH5 training, complete video training course for the LUMIX GH5 is now available for pre-order. So here, guys, this is the deal. This is how it works. You're pre-ordering it now. Here's a table of contents of what will be in the class, subject to change, of course. Here is a disclaimer that is a very, very, very important thing to know. This is telling you that this course will be on lynda.com as well as available for purchase from me. You have the advantages and disadvantages of buying on Lynda and advantages of buying from me. Primarily on Lynda, of course, it's a subscription service. You're paying every month, but you're paying for access to this course and everything else in the Lynda library, which is pretty awesome. It's a lot of stuff. The advantage of getting it directly from me here is that you can download it and you'll have it forever for one fee. So if you only want to watch it once and then never look at it again, you're going to save money by doing the Lynda route. If, however, you want to be able to have it and reference it anytime you want and you're not already a Lynda subscriber and don't plan to be for the foreseeable future, then clearly buying it and downloading it would be the way to go. So the course will cost $99. I think that's a fair price. I'm going to put a lot into this, so I think that's fair. But pre-orders is only $59, significant discount. Plus, if you are a paid member of the photoapps.expert website, you get another 20% off, which makes it kind of, when I did that, I went, wait, that's a little bit too cheap, but it's the way it is. That's the way membership is set up. So if you're a paid member of photoapps.expert, you get an even bigger discount off of that purchase price. And you'll get that discount as well when it goes to $99. So that's worth knowing as well. The advantage of buying early, I'm just going to throw this thing back up on the screen here so you guys can see that again because I think it's pretty. The advantage of buying early, two advantages really. One of them is that, well, for one, you get to help, well, three advantages. One, you get to save money, right? Because you save money. It's cheaper by buying it early. Second advantage is you are actually helping to fund the production of this because this is totally being done out of pocket. Lynda is not producing this. This is a self-produced content. So I'm doing everything here, everything myself. So I got to pay for everything up front, which is fine. But that's just so you know that if you're buying it early, you're helping to fund the production of it, which is just nice. And third, and this is the coolest part, is that you will get access to the videos, individual videos, as they're done. So you won't have to wait for the entire course to be completed. So we're going to start shooting next week. Hopefully, we're going to shoot everything in a week. And then, of course, things have to get edited. As they are edited and completed, they will get uploaded. They won't necessarily go in order. They might be totally all over the place, slapshot all over the place. But the videos will get added to the library for you to download, and you'll be able to go in there and download them as they go. I'll send out regular email updates. I'll send out an update saying the first ones are up, and then probably once a week after that saying, hey, 5 more videos or 8 more videos or whatever are up and ready for you to see. So that gives you the early access to that. But those are the three advantages. Those are 3 advantages. Yeah, save some money, help fund it, and get early access to the videos. If, of course, you would prefer to wait for lynda.com, that is perfectly fine. When it goes up in Lynda, my delivery date for them is June 15th. That may slip, but hopefully it won't. I think that's pretty reasonable. And then once they get it, they'll take a little bit of time to QA it and make sure that everything's good and before they release it. So I would expect it to be a couple weeks after that. So I would say, and this is an estimate, but I would say early to mid-July in lynda.com. On my site, of course, it'll be available piece by piece much sooner. And yeah, there you go. So that's the big, cool, exciting thing. I hope that you guys are excited about that. I know I am. I'm stoked to have this thing set and ready to go and get it up for pre-sale and to start working on this thing right away. Those lights that I showed you, did the unboxing of yesterday, in case you missed that, unboxing of lights yesterday. That's, as I mentioned, I think then, primary initial setup of that is for this production. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Okay, let's see, any other comments come by and then let's run on to the part 2 of this. Martin says the GH5 training domain is the best, by the way. So thank you. So it's funny, I did a poll, learngh5.com or gh5training.com. I did it on Twitter, and granted there weren't a whole lot of responses to it, but it was like this, back and forth, back and forth. And actually on Twitter, LearnGH5 won, but a couple people here had said that GH5 training was better, and the more I thought about it, the more I liked that better as well. So that's why I own both, obviously. but that's there. It actually just redirects you to the PhotoApps.expert site because that's where I can handle all the purchasing, the delivery, the emailing, everything. I've got all that built into this site already, but those domains are active domains, and that's what you'll see on social media. gh5training.com will take you straight there. Excellent. Kevin Wright says, in your studio setup bids, you mentioned that you didn't go with green screen. Oh, builds, I think you meant. Didn't go to green screen due to the spillover because it was too close. Correct. Did you look into any of the retro reflector solutions? I think you're talking about the things where it's the back screen looks like a slide projector and the camera, how does it work? The camera is somehow projecting on right next to it or around it or something. It's projecting an image and that image becomes the background. If that's what you're talking about, I've seen those. Crazy cool. I did not try one. They're not cheap. And I didn't really, it's not like I wanted to change out the background all the time to have crazy stuff. I just thought the green screen would be kind of a cool thing to have because I could do it cheaply and I could key it built into, like this, the ATEM switch I'm using has built-in keying. But the spillover thing was a problem, so I didn't do it. Now that, I think if that's what you're talking about, I think it's a really, really awesome solution. I don't know if it would work at this distance. It's been years since I've seen one of those. It was at a Photo Plus Expo in New York when I looked at it. And I don't remember what kind of distance they have. Obviously, there's no spillover problem, but I don't know if there's any kind of distance limitations. I just don't know enough about it. But if that's not what you're talking about, tell me what you are. I'll check it out. I would love to look into it. Okay. Let's see here. Anything else? All right, no, let's get on with the show. Tiny glass beads in the screen, ring of green LEDs around the lens. Okay. Yeah, that is the thing. It was really cool. Okay, all right, well, one thing, Michael is saying, need to know if while recording video, it will switch over to the other battery when one is depleted without interrupting recording. See, that's a very good question, and it should, which is why the popping out surprised me. But I don't know. I'm going to have to test it. I would have just said obviously because popping it out did, but now I have to test it. And I will have to let you know. So do me a favor. Who was that wrote that question? Michael Muller. Copy your question. Once the show is up, paste that as a comment so that it stays there. Because remember, these live chat feeds go away. Post that as a comment in there so that I can address it there. I need to test it. And yeah, I guess I'll just, how am I going to do that? Put it in half, almost dead battery and just go to town, let it record and see what happens. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Okay, let's move on. All right, cool. Part 2 of the show. So we're talking about, let's just go back to the screen. There we go. We're talking about the battery grip. Of course, we're gonna talk about the buttons that are on here. So you've got on this guy, let's get it nice and close in here, a series of buttons that essentially replicate what is on the top of the camera. So you've got up here, of course, this is the top of the camera, your shutter, your dial, which can be a variety of things. You've got a white, let's see if I can point to the right ones at the same time here. There we go. White balance, ISO, and the over-under exposure button. And then you've got the function 1 button, and there's a record button. But the record button is the only thing that's missing from down here. So you've got, because if you're shooting video and you're hitting record, if you're shooting video vertically and you're hitting record, you need to get slapped. No, I'm kidding. It's just, that's very uncommon. So I think that's okay that they left that off of there. You have, let's see here, your shutter button, of course, the same dial, those 3 buttons on there, and the FN button, the function button. And then you got a power switch here, which, what do we decide? That powers the whole camera? I don't even remember now. That's so funny. I know I looked at this before. It does not power, let's go back to this. Let's see here, turn that on. It does not power the whole camera. Let's turn the camera on the top and turn that off. It's not turning off. It's still getting power from the battery. Oh, it's basically a lock. That's right. We figured this out before. It is essentially a lock button. It says on off, but think of it as turning the battery grip itself on and off. So now that that is on, these dials are not doing anything. Right? None of these buttons are doing anything here. When I turn it back on, now these buttons actually do things. So there you go. So that is effectively a locking button to turn all these buttons on or off. All right, we were looking at the buttons on the bottom here. We didn't get to all of them. Let's go back to here. You have, where were we? We were this way. There we go. So again, the shutter, the dial, your 3 white balance ISO, under overexposure, your FN button, that locking button. And then on the back, you also have a thumb dial there and the AE/AF lock button. So again, replicating what is on the top here. See if I can get this into the screen so you can see it. Replicating this dial and this button here. The AEAF lock button could also be used as a back focus button. So if you wanted to push that button to focus, it just depends on how you have your camera set up. So the FN button, one thing I don't know that we are going to discover live on the air, because I don't know, is if this FN button here replicates what this button does automatically, or if it can be programmed to do something different. I just don't know. We're going to find out. And that's the fun of doing live, isn't it? So, top tip again, if you haven't watched my 5 tips you need to know video about the GH5, click here. It's an awesome video, I think so, where I show you 5 things that are just crazy cool about it. And one of those, I'll tell you one of them right now, is the easily reprogrammability of the FN buttons. Instead of having to go digging into the menus to find the thing and find it and turn it on, you can simply press and hold down on that button for a couple seconds, and then it pops up a menu to allow you to choose whatever you want. So let's see here. I have my FN1 button set to bring up the quick menu, but the custom quick menu. That's how I've got mine set up. So if how do I want to do this? We'll just do it like this. I need to get my, hold on, I guess we don't need that right now. We'll do it like this, get that out of the way. Let's go back to that camera. Okay, so I am just going to do this so you can see it. I'm going to hit the FN button up here, and it brings up my quick menu, so now I can cycle through all those different functions. And yes, this is something I will show you guys one day, I promise. So now I'm going to hit the button on the side here. Let's get this in the shot a little bit more so you can see this. I'm going to hit this button here, and let's see what happens. Actually, I really wanted to focus on that screen. Could I possibly get that to happen? No, without repositioning the camera. Oh, well. I can hit that button there, and right now, oh, do I have it on? I do have it on. It's not doing anything. So let's make sure. Okay, yep, there's white balance, right, so that's working. So FN down here isn't doing anything. So I'm going to press and hold that for a couple seconds, and it brings up the choices there, the controls. So let's see here. Let's just say what I want to set it to. Let's go to Vlog. Ooh, darn it, where do you go? Vlog L. Vlog L. I'm going to use the. This is really hard to do backwards. Okay, I'm going to set it to Vlog L. That's what I just put on there. So now, when I push that button, boom, it switches it into the Vlog L. Excellent. Okay, so there's the question answered. That button, by default, it doesn't do anything. By default, it's off. It does not replicate the function 1 button up top. The function 1 button is still the function 1 button, and that button can be programmed completely separately. So with that battery grip, you are adding an extra button onto, an extra function button onto your setup. Cool, like that. Now let's get out of that Vlog since I really don't want that on right now. I'll do that later. And then the other thing on here is, I forgot to point that guy out, is you do also have your joystick dial here, your multifunction joystick, which is replicating this one up here. So you can use that to change your focus points, to go through the menus, whatever you like. So you really have a full complement of features here, which allows you to very much shoot holding vertically and have all the controls that you would normally need. You can get to your white balance ISO, you can get to your FN button, whatever you want that to be, you get to that dial there. You've got your focus locking or autofocus trigger, depending on how you want to program it. You've got your multifunction dial joystick there. It's really a full complement there. You've got basically everything in there. I think that is pretty cool. And that's it. And then tripod strap, what do you call it, camera strap slot there. I guess if you wanted to do a strap like here to here, you could do that. I don't know. I don't like straps, so you're asking the wrong person. Oh, and then obviously a tripod socket on the bottom. I think that's everything. There's really not anything else to cover on this thing. It's basically it does what it says on the tin. It's one of those. So there you go. That's what it does. All right, let me take a look at the chat room again and see what else is happening in here. Burnstack says you can never have enough FN buttons. That is so true. You can never have enough FN buttons. That I agree 100%. Kevin Wright says, oh, that we already hit that question. Let's see here. Michael Miller says, need to know if, we already hit that too. Right, so Michael Miller, don't forget to put that in the comments. I clearly have scrolled up too far. And last question on here that's shown up is from Producta Interna. Says, how has GH5 battery life been for you? Using the XLR box a lot. It seems to draw noticeable more juice when using XLR mics. Makes sense. Understandable, but still interesting. So, okay. So GH5 battery compared to GH4 battery, remembering it is the same physical battery, you are getting less battery life, and that is primarily, well, I think there's 2 real reasons, but the biggest reason is the in-body stabilization. Those are motors and things that have to move, so that takes power. Also, I believe shooting 4K 60p takes more power, I think. I could be wrong on that. But regardless, you do, and this has been stated from the beginning, this isn't any surprise, you do get less battery life on the GH5 than you did on the GH4 off of one of these batteries. If you add the XLR1, since the XLR1 does not have its own, that's this guy here, does not have its own built-in battery, it has to draw power from here. If you are feeding phantom power from here to your microphones, then you absolutely are going to be pulling even more power. Now, Product Antenna there is saying that it seems to draw noticeable more juice when using XLR mics, even without phantom power, which is interesting. I guess not. I'm not totally surprised. I mean, I would expect it to need some power. I don't know how you define noticeable. If it's something like 50% less power, then that would certainly seem odd. But I would expect to see some level of dip, but I have zero idea what the numbers should be. So if you're seeing a noticeable dip, I don't know if that would be considered as normal or not. I'm talking about this guy tomorrow. This is tomorrow's show. So I will try and get an answer on that for you before tomorrow's show. DP4635 says, love these names. A while back I asked about VFR plus 1080p teleconverter mode. I found out that it does work at 120 frames per second. Oh, okay. So you're saying that you can go into the teleconverter mode and still get 120 FPS? That's awesome. Very cool. Michael Kleber saying, do you think GH5 will have radio transmitter or RT radio transmitter flash units like Canon or Nikon? Oh, I haven't heard anything about that. That would obviously be awesome, but I haven't heard anything about that. There are, who makes them? Pocket Wizard makes radio transmitter add-ons, right? So you can get Pocket Wizards that are now fully compatible with the Lumix cameras. I know when they first came out, they said GH4 was what it was built for. It worked fine with other cameras in my limited testing that I did. I have not played with them since then. I never did get a full set of those. Go figure. I never did get a full set of those, so I can't comment on if they work with the GH5 or not, but I can't imagine they don't. I mean, I was really surprised even when they came out with them, they said these are for the GH4. I'm going, well, isn't it all pretty much the same? But I guess they were saying that's what they had tested it with. So anyway, so for radio triggers with TTL, right now, Pocket Wizard is the way to go. Now, I did a question on Monday that I answered about external lights, TTL lights available for Lumix, and I said there was just one, because that's what I had found. Apparently, I was wrong. So I've been getting messages all over the place about other flash units that work with it. Some that aren't TTL, I think some people are kind of missing that point of the question, but there were some interesting things that came up, and I've got some emails out to different companies to try and figure out, because they'll say things like works with Panasonic cameras, and that's all you see. Okay, is it really TTL with the Lumix cameras? Or is this just an old bullet point that has been updated in 5 years? So I'm going to try and find out more about that. I will at some point do a more extensive show on external flash units, but not today. And again, to answer the question, will it have radio transmitter flash units from Panasonic? I have no idea. I haven't heard anything though, so there's that. Burns Text is switching the LCD to 30 frames per second instead of 60 frames per second helps to reduce battery usage. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's the LCD display. You can set settings on here, how bright you want it, and at what frame rate it's playing back at. Product Antenna says, I will try to make a comparison video on the topic about the XLR usage versus not. Sweet. Well, there you go. Do that for me, and then I don't have to do it. That'd be fantastic. Love that. All righty. Excellent. What do we get? Kevin Wright is saying you use a Zoom H5. Cheaper, comes with its own battery, more channels, safety track, and you get a backup recording in camera. Sounds pretty awesome. I think the advantage, the big plus of using this is 96 kilohertz straight into the camera. I think that's the biggie. Because if you're doing a backup into it, that means it's going to be backup going into the line in port, the mic in port, which is not going to be 96K. But that's great. It sounds like a great product. I know there's external recording devices have been the standard for a long time for doing any kind of high-end recording. I think it's really great, and we're kind of getting into tomorrow's show, but I think it's really great that we have this option now, but it is not the only option, which is a very important thing to consider. But I do like the option. I think it's pretty cool. Alrighty, let's do it. Let's be done. I think we're good. That's it. That's the show. Tomorrow's show. What is tomorrow's show? Tomorrow is about that little guy here. There we go. Let's bring that guy up. That is tomorrow's show. We're going to talk about that XLR one, so that'll be a fun little chit chat talking about that. Find out what it can do and how it works. And one more question I just saw pop up here. Mike Weaver says, new to Lumix, is there a third-party AC adapter you're happy with? I haven't used a third-party AC adapter on these cameras, but I have on the GH ones. I do have a couple for other Lumix cameras. Ryan, let's make sure we put a link to the show notes in the show notes. I have one that's for the GX8 FZ1000. It's that kind of squarish battery that became very common among a lot of the Lumix cameras. I've been using one of those for over a year, no problems whatsoever with it, and it was really cheap. So we'll link to that, and from there you can click on that link, and then you can look around and see if you can find a GH one. I've never had a problem with it, so I can't say I wouldn't recommend them. I would certainly only recommend first-party batteries. Only buy batteries that are made by Panasonic. Don't buy third-party batteries for your camera. But when it comes to the power supply thing, it's much simpler electronics. You don't have a thing of acid sitting in your camera that you hope doesn't leak. So I would say, and that they may not be acid, and I have no idea what's in these things, but I know their batteries are, they don't screw around with battery technology. Remember Samsung. No. So buy good batteries. But for the power adapters, we'll link to the one that I bought before, and you can go jump from there. Oh, Mike Weaver, thank you for that contribution. I'd love to see that. Thank you very much. It's nice when I answer your question and then you throw in a buck, or $5 in your case. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, one more quick. God, Burn, like everybody's throwing things, and I'm trying to get out of here. Burns Tech says some third-party AC power supplies have been reported to cause buzzing when using the mic input. Interesting. I have no experience with it. No experience with it. Just thought to mention it though. Huh? Never heard of that before. Good to know. And somebody else is sharing options in there. Okay, good. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Friday. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday, and you have a good day. Have a good one. Bye-bye.